Good afternoon. So, yesterday, actually during the evening and the night, I was occupied with, first of all, a little bit of cleaning, but also arranging the room, and also rethinking the concept. This will probably affect also the paintings that we see on the walls. Probably I'll remove some of the paintings and replace it with some others that I have, and also I'll probably return to paint some new stuff. Mostly the problem is now canvases actually, but I do still have a little bit of canvas that I can stretch on frames and work with it. Both, I mean, the new paintings and the rearrangement and the construction symbolize I would say a transition. I mean, not a dramatic transition, but some kind of a transition, as I see it, from the focus of specifically humans, as is shown. I mean, not only humans, but also titans, and I mean the same, the people of the earth, the disgusting people of the earth, as shown by the red colored. I mean, the red, like this one, the red colored paintings, and also of course the human paintings. So now the focus will be more on the earth itself, which it's already, of course it's there, mostly in the Tutankhamun paintings, but we will want to focus a little bit more on the earth itself. Certainly, this will certainly include, I mean, hanging additional paintings that I have that deal with the earth itself. I already have from like more than a year ago, and the new ones will most certainly focus on the Full Metal Jacket, like the huge, the metallic wasp, and perhaps also things to do with energy or lack of. I mean, the destruction of the radioactive isotopes and the destruction of the annihilation of the fossil fuels from the ground of the earth. So I mean, as part of it, I kind of like, I mean, clean the table that I use. This is a ceremonial table, you know. This is the magic table. Presumably everybody that sits, you know, like that sits like next to the table, whatever he does, I mean, create like magic in the walls, in the wall. Like, you know, this is the terafim, you know. Doesn't really matter what's the person. So that's why I might always be a clone in according to the Israelis, because I mean, the fact that I sit here like and do magic, I mean, or miracles, or whatever you want to define it, or symbolic actions that are aligned with the robots, the Neros, using the planetary. And now I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, I would say just, I mean, it could be the fact that the at least planetary scale bicycle mechanism, it doesn't mean anything at all, because it could be anything, because I mean, it's the table, it's not the person. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, I mean, if I understand correctly, you found some, you finally found some evidence, even though to my I mean, understanding, there is already plenty of evidence, but I mean, in many things, it's obvious that not only that the Israelis, that I do not count them at all because they are barbarian pricks, but I mean, all people of the earth that, I mean, and I mean, we have different kind of like understanding of what evidence really is. But I mean, to my understanding, you have in your possession some kind of evidence that that the bicycle mechanism is indeed at least interplanetary. I mean that I mean the maximum length of the chain is at least that of the solar system, not which means that, I mean, or in other words, that the robots here can affect the actions of robots not only everywhere on Earth, but also on other planets. I mean, if I understand correctly, I mean, you find some evidence to it. Actually, I admit, not in the way that I thought. Like, I mean, close to it, but not exactly what I thought. Like, what I thought, what was my estimation, and I've said it many times, I mean, it's not a secret. There are many videos and photographs, and just, I mean, explicitly I said it, that, I mean, that some of my art is, as you can find comparable things in Venus, probably in big scale. I don't know if, probably in a scale that you can actually, like, take, like, you know, satellite photos of. Even though today, you know, presumably it's not that difficult. I mean, presumably, I mean, you can even, I mean, today you can actually create art that will, I mean, you know, I don't know, like, what's the minimal, you know, resolution. When I was, like, I mean, you know, in my days in the military service, but it's almost 20 years ago, I mean, or 15 years ago, I mean, famously, I mean, it's not a secret that, I mean, the resolution of, like, satellites, like the best kind were, I mean, 0.8 meter per pixel, something like that. About that, I mean, I don't know what it is today. Maybe it's like, I haven't checked it in a while. Maybe it's 0.4, 0.5. So, I mean, you don't even need large, I mean, that large, I mean, but you need to know where to look, which is very, I mean, in a planetary scale, it's not easy. It's yuach. So I thought, I mean, maybe, I mean, the artwork, whether the painting and the sculptures, mostly the sculptures, I mean, they have some kind of a comparison in Venus. That I imitate what they do, what they did, in some way. But if I understand correctly, what you actually, I mean, it might be the other way around, which of course is a direct proof to the chain of a bicycle mechanism that is like as big as the solar system itself. But correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, we switched to, I mean, the construction itself is now more, before it was less, it was more thing to do with the human body and the Titan body, and now it's more, it deals with the Earth itself. And I've also so as part of that, I already started actually, and I'll continue hopefully today and in the next couple of days. I decided to try to, you know, master the energies, you know, get you know, to marshal the energies or master the energies, I mean, that I have, like, I mean, in order to do something that I haven't done in a while, which is to pursue and kind of like to continue with the new science, not just, I mean, because lately I didn't have no motivation at all. I had no motivation at all. So I just, I mean, if I did science, it's mostly, I mean, just keeping up with the cultures before I destroy them, and and also just show you some stuff, like, I mean, as a summary or introduction or to things that, I mean, I'm already know very well. But I thought maybe, okay, maybe, I mean, you should try to continue to do some new stuff. And my thought is to continue, I mean, with you hear the zombies, they really like to speak. I mean, they are addicted to their own voice. It's a problem with all humans, but certainly Israelis. So I decided to continue with things that are related to electricity, that are of supreme importance, and were discussed a lot in this channel in the past. And I said many times that, I mean, I wish I had more knowledge of physics and specifically electricity. It's incredibly important, but, I mean, I do whatever I can with my very limited knowledge. But I mean, it was very clear to me very soon in this research, in this study, that electricity is of tremendous importance to the study of the neurons. That, I mean, certainly they can utilize other sorts of energy, presumably, I mean, almost certainly radioactive, I mean, like fusion and, you know, and almost certain, and of course heat, as we've seen, and chemical energy we've seen. But to me it was very clear, very very soon that there is a kind of like a preference for them to electricity. That I mean, it's they are primed to it. I mean, even though they can use, most certainly I mean, arguably you even seen evidence for that, but this is very difficult to prove. Certainly in such poor conditions, that they can actually use fusion. Maybe also ביקוע, how do you say ביקוע? Like, לא רק היתוך, גם ביקוע. איך אומרים ביקוע באנגלית? Fusion is opposed to ביקוע, which is like the other process, like atomic process. Never mind. And again, of course, we've seen the Full Metal Jacket itself, which is the most impressive life forms of all, I think, besides my daughters, that was created in Earth, like the alien life form. I mean, it was created also using electricity, but mostly using heat. And of course, chemical energy, I mean, that's what they use in order to multiply, which is very important. I mean, not only, but in the ecological pathway. But there was something just from the get-go that, I mean, hinted me very, very, very strongly. I mean, it was like documented that electricity is the best way to go with with these creatures. I mean, this is the best call. I mean, if you can just know what to do and you have the means to do it, this is probably the best way to energize them, and also that they can be used in order to actually, generate electrical energy. Or by definition, you do not generate energy. I mean, you transform something else to electrical energy. Or in other words, generate. I mean, you use the word generator. And of course, this kind of conclusion, I mean, might arrive from like the from human point of view, because my point of view is that of human, because I was born in Earth and all my life lived in Earth. So I mean, and so I kind of like, arguably, you could argue that that I think along those lines, because electrical energy is considered, relatively, now at this point of time, like specifically in this culture, like in this society in Earth, electrical energy, is considered like very the nice kind. Like, you don't use heat as much as you've used, like, before, because the past heat was the most important, like, burning stuff, and it still is. You still burn tremendous amount of stuff, like, but there is like a transition to, people start just try to stop burning so much stuff. And and since a long time ago, they do not burn things in their own houses. So, because in the past, that's what they've done in their own homes, like to heat or to do everything. Like, they just, burn stuff even when they were in their own houses. So they stopped doing it mostly, but things like, there is like a problem of for humanity with nuclear energy. Supposedly it's kind of like presumably it could have been a very easy solution to many stuff, but this is what's discussed in the historical considerations are discussed in the NERO utility scale 101 and utility scale NERO 101 series. The problem, the punishment, from the cherubs, and like, the bad reputation and the lack of knowledge, the lack of public transparency towards the public, the lack of actual radioactive isotopes, the subjugation of the Titans, all of that in others, made the situation in Earth at that point, even though about like the tremendous opportunity of of atomic energy, since almost 100 years ago, that is kind of like well-known thing, but it didn't like history didn't like wasn't kind to this sort of energy, not as much as as you could have thought. Perhaps in other cultures, in other planets, other histories, like everybody uses atomic energy all the time. Like maybe it's trivial to them, but it's not the way that it is in Earth, and it seems that it doesn't go that direction. Like because you lose the radioactive isotopes that are left in Earth, and you do not have the way that you treated the Venusians. I mean, no way you will get it from Venus. So I mean, so this option is like, I mean, is almost like seems that, I mean, again, this is the history of the Earth. It's not like a universal construct, but that's the way it is. And same could be said for mechanical energies that can be generated from like that could be gathered from nature itself, like hydroelectric and wind, and maybe you can also lump in geothermal, even though it's not really this is not mechanical, but I mean, you can imagine other planets where they are used much more than in Earth. In Earth they are used, but probably it's like, I mean, they're not going to be used much more than they are already used, which is not that much, even though sometimes they are important, like, you know, famous in Brazil, you know, Paraguay. They're actually, I mean, these sources are actually pretty much important, I mean, relatively important, but I mean, in the global scale, they are not that important, and society didn't go that way. Regarding solar, so this was discussed in the utility 101 saga, something that I have personal kind of like experience with, because I worked 6 years in the major company that developed solar thermal energy, bright source energy. So this was already discussed, and both, like, I mean, the opportunities that it gives, like, not only in Earth but also in the moon, which is very important, and also in Venus, but also the disadvantages. I would say that, I mean, I have relatively a lot of personal experience with this kind of with these things. I mean, both from the scientific, like, technological perspective, but also some understandings of the politics, which are absurdly complicated, both in the United States but everywhere else as well. I would say the current state of politics in this world is that it's so, I mean, it's incredibly complicated to advance in the course of utility scale solar power plants, both if you want to go the solar panel path or the solar thermal path, which are very different, and it's got like different advantages and disadvantages. But at some point during the early 2000s, I mean, it seems that, I mean, international politics kind of like, I mean, is going, I mean, that way, I mean, or becoming more kind of like positive towards it, but it dramatically changed, I mean, after like about a decade, and it seems that now it's just, I mean, it's too complicated politically to advance in this course. Even though personally I'm sure that, I mean, and it's not, I mean, you don't need to be a prophet or a genius to say it. I mean, many people say it, but I also say it, I mean, I mean, because of the same argument that other people say it, but also from my own experience, like, in this industry, that I'm sure that in the future, I mean, it will be tremendously important, solar energy, both solar like photovoltaic cells, and also solar thermal, like what I was part of, like in bright source energy. Again, not only in Earth, but in the moon and Venus, maybe other places as well. אבל איך שאומרים, עוד חזון למועד. I mean, it's not, this is not, it's not the currently politics are too complicated for that. So we are left with good old, you know, electrical energy. Now, it should be said, of course, these are not mutually exclusive, because the fact that you use electrical energy, I mean, still, I mean, you need to generate it somehow. So, I mean, use electrical energy, but I mean, you need to still generate it. So you need to do something, either burn stuff, or use the sun, or use fuels that you don't like. I mean, and eventually you will have nothing. So, I mean, you can, I mean, fossil fuels are, you know, are a dead end anyway. I mean, even without pollution, you know, it's in the end you will get to nothing. I mean, that or the other. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's something that is there, but eventually it wouldn't be there. Any case, in any scenario, like even if all humans die today and are replaced with other creatures, that hopefully it will happen. So these creatures will have the same kind of problem, that fossil fuels are things that were created during the time, long time, and they are not created again. Like, if you want more, you need to wait 1 billion years more. But what do you want to do in the meantime? Like, you need other solutions. This even without factoring in all the issues of pollution and destruction of habitats and etc. etc. So okay, we have electricity, but how do we produce the electricity? That's a question. All of that to say, and maybe I was also affected by comments, because I read my my subscribers, and I understood that people are, that it's a popular issue, electricity, and again, rightfully so, because of so many reasons, and also because, again, it was demonstrated to me in this channel that right from the beginning there is something special about electricity with regards to the neurons, that they are most probably room temperature superconductors, and they have amazing ways to utilize electrical energy, and all of that kind of gives me kind of I would try to get motivation, to continue. And again, from the symbolic aspect and the art, we are going to be focused. It's not again a dramatic change, but focus less like on specifically the human body or the Titan body, and more on the Earth as a whole, which is not that different, but it's a little bit different. You see, we have a model of the Earth here. We have a continent. We have the starship. We have the Earth itself. And what I'll try to do. Two things are currently on my mind. First is return to do some kind of small scale AC experiments, something that I've done in my mother's apartment, but I did not pursue it that much because of safety issues. And the safety issues still exist. They're not solved. They can. It's a problem. I'm under arrest in this small room, but maybe I'll try to do something. I'll try to be careful and do something in a small scale. And I'm not going to continue. I had kind of an idea to create a model of a power plant, using the rotating, a rotating blade. But it's just, this is too dangerous. It's not for now. It's just too dangerous. So using you can watch it in several videos, like the bladeless fan. It's very heavy, and it spins very fast, very quick, which is not bad. It's actually great, because it means a huge metal that spins. In general, it's beneficial for the creation of alternative current, but it's just it's both dangerous from the electrical perspective and from the mechanical. It can just release and fly like a discus and kill me or whatever. So, but maybe I'll do some smaller scale things with regards to AC, to see how what happens. Also, I will want to investigate very, very, as much as I can, which isn't much, but even in the most basic way, I'll try to investigate the properties of magnets that were left for a long time in the vicinity of neurons, which mostly means this magnet, but others as well that were used in the many electrolysis experiments, but also were used just as a basis for many of the containers in the ecosystem pathway. And my estimation is that the neurons somewhat changed them. Maybe they live inside of these magnets. Maybe they live in the or מעטפת, I do say מעטפת, they're covering it, on the surface of it, and maybe they actually change the properties. I like to see if I can actually investigate these issues that are important. And a third thing that might sound the most outlandish, but I do outlandish stuff, is again continuing with something that was on my mind, since very early, but it was always kind of like in a low priority, but it was always kind of like always there, and it was presented in the art, mostly in the construction, like the performance art of in the constructions of all sorts of stuff. And this is trying to prove in a most rigorous, like, I mean, without any doubt at all, because I think it's also already proven, like, by way of deduction from the tremendous amount of, like, I mean, of evidence that you see in this channel, but trying to devise an experiment that will show in the most, in-your-face way, ללא שום ספק וללא שום הסתייגות, that actually energy transfer between the neurons is possible. Should be said, you, people of the intelligence community of this world, certainly in Israel, United States, but others as well, you know very well that these portals exist and that it can transfer mass. They can transfer humans. Many of the people that listen to me right now were transferred from a planet to another planet using the portal, and you are matter. So I mean, even without harnessing modern physics and relativity, to our needs. I mean, part of your body is energy. Is stored energy. So energy was transferred between the portals. This is a fact. The fact that the portals can be used to transfer energy is evident by the people that actually listen. Some of the people that actually listen to me right now, because they were transferred from one place to another by a portal, and their body, is a key. Even without, speaking about relativity, it's just, their body is stored energy, a chemical energy. So energy was transferred between the portals. But of course, this is like a secret knowledge that, and nobody speaks about it in public, and certainly they do not conduct research. What I would like to do is to actually show, and again, I think that to my estimation, it can already be deduced in a scientific way from the plethora of evidence in this channel. But I would like to actually conduct an experiment to show the energy transfer, like in an unquestionable way. It might not. I already saw about it like almost like 9 months or 10 months ago, and so it's not a new thing, and I couldn't like prove it until now. So it might be very difficult. So, but I think that's just it's important enough to give it another chance, and certainly if we actually be able to actually conduct such an experiment, it will be a great YouTube gem, I would say. Hopefully. If not in the general YouTube, so at least, in the private sphere of the YouTubers that you belong to, which is not as respected as the general YouTube, but what can you do? That's what I can do. And the idea is, of course, to try to prove this using, by trying to transfer electrical energy. Because this is probably the easiest way. If we will have success with that, it will be relatively easier to prove that it actually happens than by proving that other types of energy, like mechanical energy or things like that, actually were used. That this is more complicated to prove. The transfer of electrical energy between portals could theoretically be proven, very decisively by fiat luz, Yes, it's like both like a symbolic thing, but also a practical thing. Like, the actual, the actual connection of a circle that is connected to a light bulb. Maybe the most, certainly from the symbolic aspect, it's the most simple the electrical circuit, but actually it's not necessarily the one that will be easiest to construct. Mostly because in general, regular light bulbs require actually high voltage. So maybe I'll need like either to buy, even though or just to get it to scrape it from the garbage, to find actually not standard light bulbs, but like very weak light bulbs, like they do not require do not require high voltage, because I would like to work with lower voltages. So, but the idea is to create a circle that will that will be not completed, but the two kind of the part of the circle will not be there, but will be just connected to a mixture of that contains neurons. That's the general idea. It's not that difficult to conceptualize it. Think of like a wire that is connected to to an energy source, and also to some kind of component that have resistance, like a light bulb, but somewhere there is the wire is cut, but the two strands of the wire are connected to are placed inside like a mixture that contains neurons, and magically the light bulbs shows light. From practical perspective, this is actually not, it's the simplest experiment to conceptualize, and also there is, it's kind of like a symbol of electricity. Like the light bulb is a known symbol of electricity, and it's like, again, fiat lux. Like such a dramatic presentation of such a thing is described in actually a science fiction book, which is named Canticle to Leibowitz, Leibowitz, by Walter Miller, an American author, which is a pretty good novel from the 60s or the 70s, I think. And there is kind of like a scene in the middle of the novel, it's like a monk, like in a post-apocalyptic Earth, a monk is rediscovering electricity and creates like light. You create, working light bulb, like in front of like the father of the monastery, and also inspection higher people of the Inquisition, people of the inspections that arrive from Rome to see what's going on, and just they are all they are. It's like they are. They speak so much. Like, what do you do? Is this Satan work? Is this good work? Is this that? And then they see the light, and they are all fall off their feet, because they live in a post-apocalyptic world without electricity, and suddenly they see a light bulb in the first time in their life, and they are like, they're left speechless. It's a very dramatic, and it's a good scene from Canticle to Leibowitz. So maybe I could do such a thing here, but actually this is probably not going to be the easiest construction. Probably I thought about it yesterday. Probably an easier pathway to that kind of experiment, which will be, from the scientific perspective, it will be equivalent. It will demonstrably and decisively show you energy transfer without any doubt. But it's easier to do it using electrolysis, which means connect the two, cut the two wires again. Use just create a circle, but it should be DC circle in this case. Create a DC circle with energy source and wires, but the wires are cut, and both sides are placed inside a mixture that creates like the same way that you do with electrolysis, with two rods. The only difference is it's not the same cup, not the same container. And so I thought about it, and for several reasons, it's much less kind of like intuitive than the light bulb experiment, but it's probably going to be easier to do it that way. And if you see, if you see bubbles, if you see bubbles, I mean, this is like I would say proof that of energy transfer. I mean, unless there is another alternative explanation, but I mean, what can it be? I mean, why would you? I mean, presumably there is no circle because the mixtures are not. I mean, it's not the same container, and so why would connecting like one, just one side of electrical circuit to make a metal bar and placing it inside the liquid, why should it create bubbles? I mean, there is no other explanation besides the fact that there is like electrolysis going on. But I mean, in order for that to happen, you need a complete circle. So what's going on? So this is another kind of thing that I'll try to do. And again, I think it might be actually easier than the light bulb experiment. And now I have not forgotten about the Henaton. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's video, and today I will certainly do the next part. I'll do it in Hebrew, like, because I thought it's kind of like weird that, I mean, the first part will be in Hebrew and the second will be English. So the second will also be in Hebrew, and after that I'll continue just speaking in English as was usual in this channel. So that's it for now.